Alright, welcome to part 2 of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck showcase, so let's get started. What better way to kick it off than with the third Egyptian God card. Of course, if you watch part 1, I already went through the Winged Dragon of Ra and Cypher the Sky Dragon. But here's Obelisk the Tormentor, which, as you can tell, 4,000 attack and defense. Probably the strongest Egyptian God card there is, next to the Winged Dragon of Ra and Cypher, of course. But also, if you have two other monsters on your field, you can sacrifice them, and Obelisk gains an infinite attack and defense, and can destroy every monster on your opponent's field. Next is a Trap Defense Draw, which basically you can reduce the, you can make the damage you take from the battle phase to 0, and you get to draw an extra card. Next up is Magic Jammer, which if your opponent, if a spell card is activated, you can discard one card, negate the activation, and destroy it. Up next, another Trap Mirror Force, which destroys all attack position monsters on your opponent's field if an attack is wagered. And up next is Desphera Limp, which if this card is flipped face up, you can target one card in your graveyard and shuffle that card into your deck. Up next is the Legendary Fisherman, which while Yuumi is on the field, this card is unaffected by spell effects. It cannot be targeted for attacks, but does not prevent your opponent from attacking you directly. Up next is Pot of Greed, which allows you to draw 2 cards. And another Monster Reborn, which I've already explained Monster Reborn in part 1, so go back and take a look at that if you have to. Up next is another spell, Dark Magic Attack, which can only be used if you have Dark Magician. If you do, you destroy all spell and traps on your opponent's field. Up next is Monster Reborn, which I've already, like I said, I've already discussed that in part 1. Up next is Dark Lord Marie, and I'll get into one more card before we get into part 3. Which this card's special ability can only be activated once it's in your graveyard, but once per turn during your standby phase, you gain 200 life points. Now this will be the last card I get to before we head into part 3. Next is Cost Down, which lowers the level of all monsters in your hand by 2 once you discard one card from your hand until the end phase. Alright, see you in part 3, which will be coming in just a few seconds.